I'm Evan Knappen.
And I'm Teddy Knappen.
And welcome to Gun Lawyer. We have a very exciting show today because we're
going to learn about Pearl Harbor.
No. That's all about a different issue. What we are learning about, though, is a great case that just came down from the appellate division that my firm was fighting for our client here, and it is a really amazing case that is a published decision, and this is very important to understand. In Jersey, when a decision is deemed published, it means it is law. It acts as law, and the great attorney who argued this case for the firm and did the appeal as well is Robert Bell. And Rob, welcome to Gun Lawyer.
Thank you. Great to be here.
All right, man. So we're all very excited about the Polatov case, and that's why we're saying that the court tossed a Polatov cocktail on New Jersey gun law, because this case, which is a great win, actually has some very, very important impacts on our gun rights and in future fights in the courts over gun laws. Why don't you tell us about this case, Rob, and where we're at and what's happened? Go right ahead.
Certainly. So Mikhail's journey in trying to exercise his Second Amendment rights started back in 2020. He applied for a firearms purchaser identification card and was denied, not on the basis of any convictions, restraining orders, substance abuse, anything like that. Nothing objective. Just a 2011 misdemeanor charge that was dismissed, and something back in 2002. So it's all very remote, and neither of them resulted in convictions anyway. He gets denied, he appeals it, and he gets in front of our favorite Bergen County judge. I don't need to say his name, but you can look into the record and find it yourself.
Don't worry, he listens to the show, so it's okay.
So he gets in front of this judge, and he testifies about what happened in 2011 in New York during this incident that was dismissed. And it's not that the judge disliked the behavior, he just disliked his quote-unquote cavalier attitude about it and denied the permit. Fast forward to 2023, Mikhail, he applies again. This time, his wife applies as well. Both denied, simply on the basis of a previous denial. They appeal it, and they deny the wife simply because she lives with him, and they deny him because he was dishonest with us before, and if he's telling the truth now, he means he was either lying then or lying now. Doesn't matter. It was just a catch-22 of, you lied at some point, and I don't like that. You are not of the essential character of temperament necessary to be entrusted with a firearm. And that was the addition to the weasel clause that I think our viewers know about.
Right. So let's explain a little bit. So the disqualifiers that exist in the gun laws under 58, there's a list of what we often call the per se disqualifiers, where somebody, like if you're a convicted felon, it's a per se disqualifier, and virtually everybody knows that. But New Jersey has this catch-all, the all-inclusive miscellaneous weasel clause that we refer to as public health, safety, welfare. And that provision, that basis for denial, is the area where we see the most significant abuse, particularly racist abuse, where there's a disproportionate denial of blacks by more than 2.5 times to whites. And it is the section of the law that is fraught with abuse on stopping the individual from being able to get licensed. And the law was changed in New Jersey from just public health, safety, welfare, but adding the phrase about based on character of temperament, which, well, Rob, why did they add that? Why don't you tell our listeners why? You know the history. Why was that put in there?
In June 2022, when the Supreme Court issued the Bruin decision, the anti-gun states, the gun rights oppressors in New Jersey, New York, and California, Maryland, Massachusetts, they were absolutely seething, and they have been going on a temper tantrum ever since. In December 2022, they decided to pass that temper tantrum into legislation that was signed by the governor immediately, and it added essential character of temperament necessary to be entrusted with a firearm. Where they found that was in footnote 1 of the Bruin opinion. Footnote 1 of the Bruin opinion explains the laws of multiple states, including that of Connecticut. And they quoted a case called Dwyer versus Farrell. Now, Dwyer versus Farrell is a Connecticut case about the firearms laws. However, the Supreme Court quoted Dwyer versus Farrell, and they had a phrase in it, essential character of temperament necessary to be entrusted with a firearm. However, the Supreme Court of the United States, unfortunately, has a typo in that footnote. It actually reads character or temperament. So we know exactly what they were doing. They were just combing that decision, looking for anything and everything to keep this unctuous statute going for as long as they possibly can so that they can continue oppressing gun rights. So now we have a phrase in the Weasel Clause that is a result of the legislature copying somebody else's homework and passing it off as a sensible phrase because it makes no sense.
And now it's actually, but Rob, now it's actually had the opposite effect of what they intended because in this case law, it creates a limitation as expressed in Polatov as to what that actually means, right?
Correct. They actually have spoken up on what that means, and it's in part because I pointed out where it came from, I think.
I think you're right. No, absolutely, it's why. And now, what does that phrase now mean in New Jersey as it applies to the entire Weasel Clause now, right? Because it modifies the whole Weasel Clause. What is the standard that has now been determined by Polatov, by that case?
They have seemed to they seem to have rejected my original argument that it requires repetitive misconduct. But then they go on to say, character of temperament means the basic defining qualities of a person's emotional response. And to lack the basic qualities of one's emotional response means to have no stable or consistent emotional core necessary for responsible action. In other words, to be so volatile that armament would endanger the interest of the public health, safety, or welfare. I don't know how you prove that someone's volatile without pointing to multiple instances of misconduct.
But they are basing that very importantly on Coons-Platkin.
Correct.
Now, what is the quote that the court relies upon, which is extremely significant because now we have, for the first time, New Jersey appellate case law getting published utilizing the federal law in our favor, and now that becomes part of Jersey state law fighting, right? It's very significant. It bridges the state to the federal. What did they do, Rob? What did they do?
They quoted Coons v. Platkin when they said that the Weasel Clause must focus on whether the applicant, armed with a firearm, poses a danger to the public. So we're running in circles with vague rules.
But now we have the standard of the violence and danger to public, and we've seen many times in the denial that it has nothing, they put forward nothing to do with violence or danger, that they deny, as this case illustrates. What did the judge deny him for? Nothing having to do with violence.
Credibility.
Right.
Credibility.
Which is not a basis. And so this is going to have the effect of cutting down a lot of the wrongful denials that we've encountered, that we've seen.
It's certainly something we can use to smack back at.
Yes. Now, we want to see it go further, of course, and to finally be taken out as utterly and completely unconstitutional to even have this type of disqualifier in the gun laws. But what has been accomplished here with the Polatov case is incorporating the federal wins in gun law, the federal case law, right, into state law, and establishing a more narrowing, it narrows more the public health, safety, welfare disqualifier than we had prior to the law being changed.
Oh, yes, because now it has to focus on the applicant. People used to get denied permits for individuals who live in their house if they were a convicted felon, if they were under a restraining order, if they had been involuntarily committed, something like that.
Right, and that is a classic that we see going on all the time in Jersey, where an innocent third party, they attempt to disarm the innocent third party because of some other party in the household who is otherwise disqualified, right?
Well, didn't they just pass that law too, where they're now like doing, what are they trying to do, like the household or the household background check?
Rob, what I'm talking about here, and I think Rob knows, is when we enter into these cases where it's an innocent third party who's being denied their gun rights or have had their guns seized because, say, somebody else in the household gets a restraining order against them.
Correct. Vicarious disability, I guess you could call it.
And then they abuse the case where the person said, "Oh yeah, I'd let the disqualified person have the gun," where and suddenly that makes everybody in the household disqualified. And so this is going to help to end that practice and help end those arguments of becoming disenfranchised of your gun rights because somebody else in your house is disqualified, because it doesn't make you, the individual, have a character or temperament problem.
Correct, and it doesn't even sound like the legislature knew that what they were doing there. They just had a temper tantrum and they limited something that they like to use.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Rob, I just have a question regarding, as I was reading through the case, just the background of like what they were highlighting, where it was they thought he quote unquote lied about it, but just didn't understand about his history, the criminal history of the charge of why they were denying him. It just seemed like it was a complete misunderstanding of the question when they were asking, did he have like the history? Because I was reading through the transcript that was in the decision, and it just seemed like they were confused. Like it just seemed.
Yes, at least in that first hearing that I did not represent him in, it seems that way. It just seems like he said whatever, and also I don't know that it's in the transcript, but that was on Zoom. That was
even better.
Yeah, so hearing was on Zoom,
and wasn't both licensing hearings in front of the same Bergen County judge?
And that was a beautiful point. I like to tap myself on the back for that. I said the same judge and the cops have gotten in the way of this man arming himself for 5 years.
And I would like to point out to folks, if they want to actually read this decision, and we're going to have the link, there's a transcription of the colloquy of the first hearing between the judge and the client, and I think it illustrates what goes on in that court, because when you read that, keep in mind the questioning you see going on there isn't being done by the prosecutor. It's being done by the court, who is aggressively interrogating the applicant.
Just
read it for yourself, you can see what goes on in that court when it comes to a judge who you want to be a neutral judicial authority, but takes on the role of cross-examiner.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, and it gives you a taste of what goes on there and what our client went through. You read it for yourself, folks. Twice.
now multiply that times 1,000, and that's almost every gun case for New Jersey where, it's a prosecutor or judge who, a political appointee who has a bias and wants to take away our rights.
Well, we don't know. Why else? What is going on? Maybe not. I don't know. Is it just simply pursuing an agenda? Is it simply a rule that has now become something where the issuing authority is in
No,
preposition to be aggressively questioning on the side of the government of taking rights and not the role of protecting rights, of expanding rights, of being the one who ensures the protection of individual rights, but rather the one pushing hard on whether to take rights. That's what you can argue and reflect upon.
Well, I think it comes back to just look at the Bruin decision with the dissent from Jackson. What was her view of our rights? When you consider the Second Amendment, you have to consider the issues of gun violence and threats to the community and everything else, but not actually looking at the law. That is the mindset of these people. They bring in that bias every single time. You see it from reading that transcript.
Well, that's a good example from Jackson, and you can see, these are when we talk about individual rights, there's supposed to be a guarantee of our individual rights, and that guarantee is not voided by way of all these other political arguments. Okay, that's not how it's supposed to work.
You also have I always think of the line from The Untouchables, where the guys, let's do some good. That's the left mindset they think. This is, oh man, you're doing such a service denying this poor guy who literally is he was a Russian born and was in the Polish military and
he knew how to handle a firearm.
Knew how to handle a firearm, did all this history, comes to here, gets a full degree, family, everything, and gets denied because I don't like guns.
Well,
it's disgusting.
It's a constant battle that we undergo. And speaking of that battle, one of the key fighters for our rights is the Association of Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs. And they are the state gun rights group. They are the umbrella organization for the NRA. They have multiple gun clubs that all belong in the association, and they have a full-time paid lobbyist down in Trenton. Keep an eye on the shenanigans going on there. Plus, they're fighting in the courts. I mean, Coons versus Platkin. Guess what? Association is on that case. And these are the important things that our great organization is doing. And you need to be a member of anjrpc.org. That's the Association of Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs. Make sure you join. Make sure you're part of the solution. I also want to talk about our really good friends at We Shoot. We Shoot is a range in Lakewood. We've all shot. Rob, you've shot at Reshoot as well. And so
correct, you are.
Teddy, yep, and myself, we love Reshoot. That is the range. It is right there in Lakewood, conveniently off the Parkway. You can have access to a fantastic resource for being able to shoot right there. They have great training and a great pro shop. That's where we got our C-Care certificates for getting our carries, and you can get yours there as well and get all kinds of training at both advanced and novice. Make sure that you check out We Shoot and the We Shoot website, which is at WeShootUSA.com. You can see the famous We Shoot photography and the We Shoot girls, and they have a lot of fantastic deals on firearms that they're running. You'll love it. Everyone loves We Shoot. Go there and have a great day at the range. And let me also take a moment to shamelessly promote my book, which is New Jersey Gun Law. It is the Bible of Jersey gun law. It's a book used by, everybody that wants to know about New Jersey gun law. You need to get your copy. Go to evannappin.com and order a copy today. It will help you get through the matrix of insanity called New Jersey gun laws and hopefully not become a go-foo, which is always a challenge in the Democratic People's Republic of New Jersey. So, Teddy, what do you have today for us in press checks?
Well, as you know, press checks are always free, and I always make it a point, and everyone who's been listening on the show knows I always want to do, opposition research. What are they talking about? What is the argument? And, our good friends at The Trace, they always keep us abreast on whatever, their message and propaganda. And there's been this huge push where they're trying to, push Trump out and say, oh, he's anti-gun, he's hurting gun owners. They always try to make this argument that he's anti-gun, which they go on this Trump deranged rant, but they're an anti-gun outlet, so they would be praising Trump for this, but they still go after him. It's very confusing, and it's just it's because whenever it comes
They're
down to it,
schizophrenic, man.
well, it's the issue of the fact you always remember these people are Marxists. And when it comes to Marxists, it doesn't matter about standards or beliefs. It's about defeating the opposition. They don't care what position they have to take so long as they defeat their opponent. That's how you end up with, where you end up with crazies where they have like the groups of the left trying to join, Maduro and free Iran. Like, it hands that level of insanity. So their latest article from this guy by the name of Champy Barton, I don't care, Trump's tariffs are driving up ammo prices. Okay. This is something they've been pushing for the longest time.
So they should be they should be totally in favor of tariffs then, because it helps promote their anti-gun agenda, right?
Well, that would be the argument, but they're like, how? They're like, instead it's just this whole, the pro-gun president is hurting gun owners, and they go on this whole stupid thing, like, pro-gun president squeezing the ammo industry, the gun owners' bullets, oh, the humanity. Like, it's the level of, like, and they try to, like, the turbulence has arrived. Trump has billed himself the most pro-gun president ever, yet steeping tariffs in metals and chemicals used to ammunition is ratcheting up the prices and costs for ammunition. And according to the Ammunition Depot, the average daily price of 9mm full jacket has widely used by the caliber of the market has ticked up steadily. In January, it's twice topped 35 cents, the highest level since 2023, about 10 cents more than the average price during 2025. So I love the game. They always try to quote, oh, this is a respective source. So you know what? I actually went to the Ammo Depot. I actually went to their sources. And let's give a little history. So December 2020, Full Metal Jacket was
of 9mm full metal
9mm full metal jacket, 1,000 per rounds, was about 180 prior to 2020. Then it jumped to like $600 and $700 per thousand. Like you remember that 2020 days? I remember the golden bricks they were selling.
Crazy prices.
Gaslight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then cut to February 2021, the prices was like 70 cents a round, 90 cents a round. And then 2023, 2024, things finally started to calm down once the end of COVID, where it was 20 cents, then it was 27 cents, then it was 23, like just hovering around that number. And then 2025, it's at around 21 cents to 24 cents. And in November 2025, it dropped to 20. I went to the prices index, went right to the index. It hovers around 12 cents per round to 30 cents per round. So what the heck are they talking about? This whole stupidity of an argument, which, by the way, the experts are still trying to figure out, where's all this inflation? I mean, we've been saying tariffs are inflationary, but none of the inflation is hit.
That's because a lot of the manufacturers just absorbed it in a cost of doing business, and competition has made it so it did not skyrocket. Like they predicted
also, we are the largest producer of lead ore. We exported 864 million of ore. You know how much we imported?
Ooh, and a lot of that lead comes out of the front of a barrel of a gun, right?
I know, right? Some of it,
Exporting it all around. It's
I
great.
know. It's good. You know what? We should export more to Iran. But
Currently, we're really exporting a lot of lead to Iran.
I know, right? But I even pulled up. I always do this. I like citing left-leaning sources to prove against their argument. MSN, they brought on an expert. You have to understand. Step one: tariffs on imports do raise the price on imports, but you have to remember, U.S. exports earn the withdrawal by buying imports from other countries. So if you have a tax on imports, it's exact the same on a tax of exports. That's called Leonard symmetry theorem, exactly the same. And therefore, what happens is all the exportable goods and services, their prices will fall. So the increase of price imports is matched by the fall of price. So it comes down to net zero. That's their whole argument. That's their whole long-winded claim of like, this is the reason. Instead of just admitting tariffs are non-inflationary and just going into and just accepting that reality, because if you look to the price, all the prices.
Step back and look how they're trying to twist that into somehow Trump is hurting the Second Amendment or something. Like, first of all, they would be rejoicing if in fact he was hurting. So why are they putting it out that it's in any way a problem? Instead, they're trying to just convince a MAGA base of some sort that he's betraying them or something. I mean, the politics of that is just bizarro for the trace.
Dad,
otherwise they should just praise it. In other words, you're in favor of it. What?
Well, this is the trick. Cut to the Germans in World War II. You already lost. Your allies have abandoned you. You are losing men and materials. Your tariffs are causing inflation.
Right, exactly.
This is the game where they're trying to break up MAGA in that idea.
Right,
where they're trying to. That's why you have all the black pillars. You have all these stupid people trying to make the argument like
George
MAGA.
Propaganda.
Yeah, and that's the truth, and that's why you push all these lies. And, it just cut to Harry Enton, the golden retriever of CNN. MAGA support 100% on the GOP.
Yeah, 100.
I always thought, like, he's making that up. There's no way. But it's CNN. Like, they already undervalue it, so at this point it'd be 110% for Trump, because it's that level. It's so stupid.
100%. That's
so
really
this psyop they try to do of breaking up Trump from the gun owners, breaking up MAGA. This is all lies, and I have the articles here from the Or World, from showing the levels of production. It's all lies, factual inaccuracies.
Well, I appreciate you pointing that out. I'm sure the listeners do as well. And Rob, what a great job and what a fight you had all through, from the trial level through the appellate level. But victory is yours, because it is not just a win on the appeal, but it is a published case that actually establishes law for New Jersey and even brings in now the federal case law. It's quite an accomplishment. It's really great. And I want to tell you that we, at the end of the show, we always do the GoFu, which is the gun owner F-up. And we try to educate our folks about not making mistakes that we've seen others make in our practice. And they're expensive mistakes, and if they can learn here for free not to do them. So this week's GoFu, I want to ask you, Rob, based on anything you've been dealing with or observing, as any kind of GoFu you'd like to let our listeners know about for this week.
Sure thing. But before I do, I forgot to mention that in the Polatov case, the judge and prosecutor are absolutely seething.
Oh, really? Wait, what is that? Why is that?
Well, I very triumphantly emailed an order to the court and CC'd the prosecutor who originally was on this case, saying,
an order for what? And wait, an order for what?
Granting the permit.
Because well, let's explain why. Because the court, in the appellate decision, ordered not just reversing the decision of the lower court, but ordered the issuance of the firearm purchaser ID card. So you sent a court order to the trial court saying, here, do this order reversing denial and ordering the issuance of the FID card as the appellate court has so stated,
Correct.
right? So you did that, right? What happened?
Yes, and the Bergen County prosecutors, there were two of them on the email, said, "Oh, please hold off on that. We need to talk about this. We need to confer to see if we're going to appeal or file a stay." So they're running
File
scared.
for reconsideration or something. Do they
You know
actually
what?
think they could get a reconsideration of an appellate case that the appellate division chose to make published?
Let him try.
When it comes,
Oh,
when
man.
when it comes to guns, they'll always make an exception for us.
Well, I don't know why, but they are. They're taking it. They're not taking it very well, huh? What you're saying?
I would say that what they're doing may be a GTFU, a gun tyrant F up,
Yeah.
Well,
which brings us to the GoFu.
well, that does. And wait 1 second. You know, anybody who's had their firearm license FID denied, if this may now present the opportunity to go back, and if you were denied and it wasn't based on a criteria that would now fit in the violence area, right? If it was public health, safety, welfare denial of old, that this opens a door for you to at least put in for reapplication or give a call to us or your other attorneys and see maybe we can do something about reviewing the denial that should not have occurred. So it opens the door to that. For that,
They have the
review.
right to have not have a denial on their record if it was erroneous the first time around.
Right. So this opens that door. But go ahead. What's the go-for, Rob? What is your go-for?
I have encountered it multiple times. Voluntary registration of an inherited firearm. And I just don't understand why someone would do that. I hope no one out there does do it. But in New Jersey, for example, if you inherit a firearm from a loved one, a parent, what have you, you do not have to go through the rigmarole of getting a purchase permit. It simply comes to you. However, there is voluntary registration in the Democratic People's Republic of New Jersey, and you can go to their website and voluntarily give them the information, serial number, the make and model. I don't know. That's like talking to cops, and with that, I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would voluntarily register. The first word is voluntary, which means you don't have to do it. So there's no reason to voluntarily register your firearm. I've yet to find the reason that makes that a good idea. Haven't seen it. Now, if someone can tell me that reason, that'd be nice to know, but I don't see it. And instead, all you're doing is putting yourself on the radar when there's no reason to do it. And then people that do voluntarily register then raise the state in looking into them. So now you're simply saying, hey, look at me and check out the reason for registration and what I'm writing and everything else about it. And so all you're doing is waving a big flag at the government to focus on you as well. And it's completely unnecessary. So absolutely classic GoFu is anybody stupid enough to voluntarily register one of their guns. This is Evan Knappen, Teddy Knappen, and Robert Bell reminding you that gun laws don't protect honest citizens from criminals. They protect criminals from honest citizens.
Gun Lawyer is a Counterthink media production. The music used in this broadcast was managed by Cosmo Music, New York, New York. Reach us by emailing evan@gun.lawyer. The information and opinions in this broadcast do not constitute legal advice. Consult a licensed attorney in your state.